The hell is it?
Hey guys, welcome to another Danz Newz Reviewz. I'm your host, Danz Newz. Or am I a secret spy? Yes, I am. Alright, so today I'm reviewing Total Recall. Okay, I'm getting rid of the gun. Alright, so this is the remake of the original Total Recall starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, which was, both are based on the short story by Philip K. Dick called We Can Remember That For You Wholesale. At least I think it is, off my memory. I'm pretty sure that's the name of it. But yeah, so this movie, I wouldn't say is that well connected to the original Arnold Total Recall. And yeah, hold on, let me give you a bit of synopsis and what's a bit different here. So the original movie takes place on Mars. This movie takes place completely on Earth, although it's a slightly different Earth, where pretty much only two superpowers exist at this point, or not superpowers, but two lands exist, because everything else was destroyed. Anything in any post-apocalyptic world, there's always damage left over by some, for us, slightly far off war that's going to destroy, the majority of the planet. And so in this movie, there are really only two existing livable places. One is the colony, which is Australia, where, the poor and desolate live. And then the well-off British Federation, or the United British, it's something like that. Pretty much the UK, essentially, which is all the well-to-do, high-up people who are well-off, and for some reason. So it's pretty much like, the 1% and the 99%. The original takes place on Mars and has stuff to do with mutants, and it's just, they're two very different movies. The only really thing that they really share is the name of the main character, and the concept that a guy is kind of tired with his life and decides to go to Total Recall, which is a company that can essentially insert memories into your brain, that you could be a spy, a celebrity, you could be whatever you want, kind of live your wildest fantasies in your memory. And that's pretty much the plot of the story. Essentially, the main character, played by Colin Farrell, goes to Recall because he's tired of living his, a normal, average, boring life, and wants some exciting memories of being a secret agent. The second he's hooked up, things go awry, and is it real or is it not? That's the big question the original movie asked. This movie kind of sticks to one story. And pretty much the rest of the movie is him trying to figure out who he is, with these two kind of organizations battling it out, the resistance and, the higher up people who want to rule this movie is not super heavy on story, but I've seen this movie criticized up and down about kind of just being an action movie, and kind of brainless, mindless action movie. I actually really enjoyed this movie. It wasn't amazing. It didn't have anything super crazy unique about it, but it was a fun movie. I didn't find, there were no parts in it where I was just like, ugh, that's, ugh. All the acting was great all around. It wasn't, again, the material itself didn't call for amazing acting. It called for a lot of running around and action. But what story was there was, it kept me interested through the movie. And that's really kind of all I could ask for this type of movie. I think one of the reasons why people are really kind of tearing into this movie is because they hold the original Total Recall in higher regard. The majority of the people that I've seen kind of negatively reviewing this movie are people comparing it to the original Total Recall. And I think that's kind of a mistake to do, because I like to look at a movie based on its own kind of moviness. I like the movie to speak for itself. But I also understand having an attachment to an original movie that's being remade, and kind of seeing it, as a pointless remake. But I think this was different enough to warrant kind of a retelling of the story, and with kind of a reinterpretation to it. I found it, like I said, very enjoyable. It was a fun kind of action-y movie. The action was cool. It kind of reminded me of the original Mummy movie. The original Mummy movie, there wasn't a whole lot of crazy new story in there, but it was a fun movie. It had a good sense of humor. It was fun action. That's pretty much how I could describe it. So I don't really have any super negative opinions about this. Colin Farrell was fine. He's one of my favorite actors, so it's kind of hard for me to judge negatively him. That made sense. But he did really well in the movie. Jessica Biel, I'm kind of iffy about her sometimes. She was fine. Kate Beckinsale was good. And Bryan Cranston, as some of you may know, I'm kind of a bigger Breaking Bad fan, and so is James. So we enjoy Bryan Cranston in it. But yeah, the movie didn't really have any kind of weak points. It was fun. I was actually surprised how well everything looked, because what I was looking at, I knew a lot of it was CG, but I'm the kind of person who notices a lot of CGI in films. And usually I'm super critical about CGI in films. But in a movie where it's predominantly CGI, if you do it well enough, I can really kind of not notice it. Because where you have something like The Dark Knight Rises, where I can kind of tell a lot of the CGI points, because there's not a whole lot of it in there. When you have a movie that's kind of stretched out with a lot of CGI, after a while it kind of becomes hard to tell what's real and what's not. And so I was actually pretty impressed with a lot of the stuff in the movie. There's a sequence in the film that is a car chase sequence, and it seems in the future they have like a magnetic highway sort of thing. The cars operate on magnets seemingly, and it's kind of like an upside of the road and a downside of the road, where when you're on the upside of the road, there are repellent magnets that are making the cars hover, and then on the other side, I'm assuming on the other side of the top side of the car, there are magnets that are attracting, so you're kind of like still hovering, but you're going under the highway, if that makes any sense. But I would be terrified driving in those cars, because that's like, I'd be afraid my magnets would lose like some sort of cohesion and just plummet to the ground. It seemed kind of weird that they have that sort of highway system. But yeah, I enjoyed the design of a lot of the movie. It was pretty interesting art design wise. I liked the robot police. They were really kind of cool. The kind of androidish soldiery dudes. They were really cool. I liked the design. We actually got to see the actual car. The cars they have at Comic-Con, we got to see them because they had them displayed. It was really kind of cool. And yeah, that's pretty much everything about the movie. There wasn't anything crazy unique about it. I wouldn't necessarily say it's the most memorable movie to date, but it wasn't bad. There was that, like I said, there's no point during the movie that I thought this was bad. I actually thought there were some interesting points to the movie, some interesting, more like design action-y points that I thought were interesting. Like, oh, I haven't seen that before. So that was kind of cool. I felt like, from reading the reviews that people were talking about the original Total Recall, if you completely block that out, forget that movie existed, and I know it did exist, but if you forget that movie existed and judge this movie as that movie, it's not bad. It's really not bad. So I give the movie an 8 out of 10. It's slightly above average. 7 would be about average. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. That's why I gave it slightly higher marks, because I had a very good time at the movies, and I suggest you guys go see it if you enjoy, not necessarily the most riveting idea-propelled movie, but not a bad action movie. So, yeah, that's my review for Total Recall. Got the gun back. So what'd you think? Have you guys seen the movie? Let me know what you think about the movie in the comments. Let me know. I'll pop a cap in your ass. I'll do it. Bam. I got my Glock. My Glock. That feels stupid. Yep.